Welcome to It's Always Sunny in the West. I am Patrick, the good.
And I am Lugia, aka the Bad.
And I'm Red, the ugly. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about, if you can guess by that, and the theme that we played earlier, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Or the
Before that,
Patrick, the Lugia, and the red. Whichever
yes,
you prefer.
yes, so, I guess we are going to, let's just jump into the news real quickly. So, knowing this podcast, we're going to have to talk about Sonic eventually, so let's just knock it out real quick. Sega has announced, I don't know where they announced this. This is a very odd statement to put out, but they said that Sonic will probably not be smooching any more humans. Sega says. Personally, I think this is an outrage, and I will be boycotting all Sega
He only did
future
it the
Sega
one
products.
time in '06, which
and
is not entirely canon because of how that game works in the timeline at the end.
and
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 B,
B, it's been 16 years.
Yeah.
and
Look, I'm gonna be honest.
C, he didn't kiss her. She kissed him. His
Yeah.
corpse, by the way.
Here's the thing. My question is it only Sonic or are other Sonic characters not going to be able to kiss? Because I remember Rouge being in a lesbian relationship in Sonic X. And I think it's homophobia to not allow her to.
I don't know, but I guess this just kind of solidifies we won't be seeing Madonna anytime soon.
Anyway,
Any real hardcore Sonic fans will get that.
Yeah.
yes. So anyway, speaking of video games and classic 90s characters, the new Ninja Turtles game came out, and they got fucking Wu-Tang Clan doing the music.
I think it was some of the music. I know some of the other music was done by T-Lobe, who you may know for Sonic Mania.
Yeah, so another Sonic connection. But yeah,
Yeah.
this new game looks really good. It's inspired by Turtles in Time.
I've seen the first couple of levels. It looks really fun to play, and this is coming from someone who plays beat 'em ups every now and then, like River City Girls and Scott Pilgrim and hell, Turtles in Time. I really want to play this game so bad. It looks that fun.
Yeah.
Out
And
of, curio-
it has 6-player multiplayer, both
Yeah,
local and online, simultaneously.
out of curiosity, are you guys fans of Ninja Turtles?
Yes, I am.
I'm not a diehard fan. I am familiar with the franchise, but I wouldn't say I'm like a big Turtles fan.
I want to say I'm diehard. I was really into the 2003 cartoon obviously when I was a kid, and I've seen the first live action movie and that one animated movie. I'd say I am a fan, not like a diehard, but average fan.
Now, a real
And
diehard fan would listen to Turtles Out of Their Shells, the
yeah,
musical.
I like the video games, yeah, obviously. But
I'll
yeah,
be honest, Ninja Turtles was never really my thing. Never really got into it. I do love the theme song though.
It caters to a very specific demographic.
yeah.
That
I
theme
actually,
song though.
that reminds me. On a free comic book day earlier this year, I picked up the first issue of the original Ninja Turtles comic, so that's kind of cool. In some more sad news, a lot of great artists passed away this last week. Philip Baker Hall, he's a very prolific actor. He appeared in a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson movies, Hard Eight, Boogie Nights, Magnolia. He was in the Truman Show, since I know you guys have seen that. He was in Bruce Almighty. I know you're a fan of that movie, Patrick.
Mhm.
Zodiac, and he was in a lot of TV shows. A lot of people know him because he appeared in Seinfeld briefly, and his appearance is one of the more popular side characters. He played a Lieutenant Joe Bookman in Seinfeld. And obviously appeared in Curb, Modern Family, BoJack Horseman. A lot of I think he was one that played J.D. Salinger in BoJack Horseman. But yeah, a lot of very prolific roles. In Bruce Almighty, he played Jack Baylor. But yeah,
Yeah, it's the guy that Bruce slapped the sandwich out of the hands
yeah,
of. That scene
yeah.
always makes me laugh.
Yeah, so he's a very prolific actor, very funny, very talented man. I'm a big fan. So rest in peace, Philip Baker Hall. You will be missed. Great character actor. Tim Sale also passed away. Tim Sale is a legendary comic book artist. I'm actually a huge fan of Tim Sale's work. I'm gonna be honest. If you see Tim Sale's name written on a comic book, just buy it. It's gonna be worth your time. He always seems to pick he always seems to bring the best out of his writers, but his art's just fantastic. Genuinely, I've read almost every Tim Sale comic, and I've loved every single one of them. His most
What has he
iconic one,
made?
His most iconic one is Batman: The Long Halloween, which is the inspiration for the Dark Knight. This most recent Batman movie. It is the most influential Batman comic. He also wrote Dark Victory, which is a direct sequel to Long Halloween. His work with Marvel, he did this series called the Colors series, where he did Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, Captain America White, and Hulk Gray, which are all these stories, retellings of early stories of these superheroes. And it was about like the first like major death they had to deal with, and it was very strongly well written stuff. So he's very good at like retelling like origin stuff, but like he's able to like bring a very unique like emotionality out of it. Superman Confidential is like a retelling of the Superman origin story. And it's my favorite retelling because he's able to like mine some like real strong emotion out of it. So highly recommend his work. He is one of, if not my favorite comic artist, honestly, ever. Absolute legend. The fact that him and George Perez died like this same month is like, it's a travesty because George Perez is also just an absolute legend. Like these are two of like the greatest like comic artists ever. It's a real blow to the industry. Anyway, Everett Peck also passed away. He's an artist you guys might be a bit more familiar with because he is the creator of Duckman and Squirrel Boy. If you guys are familiar with those two cartoons.
I've heard of them, but
I've heard of Duckman, and I remember seeing a few episodes of Squirrel Boy back in the day, but that's about it.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Duckman. I've not actually seen Squirrel Boy. I know that's the one that like was out when we were kids, but some reason always managed to miss it. But yeah, rest in peace, Everett Peck. You were a talented cartoonist. He also did some comics for like the New Yorker and stuff like that, and Dark Horse. He also did character design for some TV shows you might recognize. He did the Extreme Ghostbusters, Jumanji, Men in Black, and Godzilla, those '90s animated series. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, he passed away of pancreatic cancer. So rest in peace, Everett Peck. A lot of very, very talented artists passed. So it's a real shame because I was honestly a fan of all of them. I got some more lighthearted death news. After 25 years, Internet Explorer, the browser, is finally being shut down permanently. I remember using Internet Explorer when I was like 5 years old or whatever. It used to be like basically the default browser.
yeah, that was like the web browser back in the day.
Mhm.
Using Internet
now-
Explorer with AOL dial-up. That was painful, but it's a memory.
I don't know. Rest in peace.
Actually,
Internet
initially,
Explorer.
I thought that Microsoft Edge was basically the evolution of Explorer. I didn't
Yeah,
realize they
that's
were
the thing.
completely
It is.
different.
It is, but like there's still like separate programs. Here's the thing, like with programs, there's legacy support. Like I don't know, if you play World of Warcraft nowadays, there's actually two versions of World of Warcraft. There's classic and the modern version, and they're very different because like with all the updates and stuff, like the game just changed. So, but yeah, Internet Explorer is a separate browser, and they're probably shutting it down just because Edge has been around for a few years now. So now the few people that use Internet Explorer, they're all probably on Edge now. So yeah. Because like nowadays, Internet Explorer isn't like an automatic download anyway. Like Edge is what's prepackaged in like the Windows stuff now. So you would have to go out of your way to download Internet Explorer nowadays, and no one does because it's very slow. So rest in peace, Internet Explorer. I had memories using you. Good riddance, honestly, but yeah, rest in peace. Still,
Yeah, like who really uses Internet Explorer anymore?
yeah. It's mostly just there out of like legacy and nostalgia, but I don't think anyone actually like
Yo,
know.
where's Netscape?
AOL like chat. We need to bring that back. Where's my fucking LimeWire? Actually, anyway, how many of you guys are Star Wars fans? At least the prequels,
Uh,
Clone Wars.
I don't hate the prequels. I think they deserve to exist on their own merits. I wouldn't say I think they're good, but they're not
Yeah.
awful.
The prequels have a very mixed legacy nowadays, but I think what most people can agree is that Ewan McGregor is one of the best parts of it. In fact, his new show Kenobi is currently out, so that's pretty cool. I have not seen it, but heard mixed things about it. But yeah, anyway, Ewan McGregor apparently gets a lot of homoerotic fan art of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. I don't know why this got brought up in an interview, but it did. To quote him, he says, "I don't know how it finds me. You open the envelope, you think you're gonna have to sign something, you're like, fucking hell." So I thought that was really funny.
So he's sent
Uh,
physical mail of this.
yes.
They have his
People are
address
sending-
and they ship it to him. Wow.
Yeah, shipping him, like, imagine just opening it. It was like, yeah. I don't know. It's better than getting sent,
A pipe
I know
bomb.
yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ, a pipe bomb. I was thinking like fucking arsenic or something. But yeah, Jesus. But yeah, that's something. Anyway, I'm gonna keep this one quick because I know you guys don't have much to say. 3 Avatar: Last Airbender movies. They're gonna be making a prequel of Kyoshi, a sequel to the main series of Zuko, and a sequel to Korra with following Korra. Should be interesting. Personally, I'm just looking. I'm not too looking forward to it because I've read some of the comics and they're not great, and it seems to be adapting those comics. But it's gonna be just interesting just because these are gonna be theatrical releases and they are gonna be 2D animated, so it's gonna be very cool to see all these series with the high budget, but it's also just gonna be cool to see action anime like animation in America on the big screen. Like, I think that's just cool on a conceptual basis. Like, and since they're movies, I feel like it's gonna be like easy for Avatar fans to just like jump into, especially the Kyoshi one because that's just like a prequel completely disconnected from like the main series. So you guys might actually be able to jump into the series with the Kyoshi movie because that is just like that's just a separate story in the universe. It has nothing to do with the main series. It's a shame that the only 2D animation that's on the big screen is like related to TV shows. I know Patrick, you saw the Bob's Burgers movie recently.
I did indeed.
Yeah, so like, can you think of any other like theatrical release 2D animation
That's not anime
that's not anime
or TV related.
or TV related? Last one I
Uh,
can think of was honestly like Winnie the Pooh or Princess and the Frog.
only thing I can really think of is I don't know if you could really count this, but Sponge Out of Water. That's like 75% 2D.
That's TV related though.
Yeah.
Oh
SpongeBob.
shit!
That doesn't count.
Fuck. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Uh,
Yeah, I cannot think of many. So yeah, I honestly found. Do you think it's like interesting that stop motion has had a longer lifetime than 2D animation? Like, there are still stop motion movies that are made and released in theaters.
What requires
I-
more effort and time and money?
Here's the thing: 2D animation is like the cheapest one. That's why it's still like prevalent on TV. Like, it is inexpensive 2D, like relatively inexpensive compared to 3D animation and stop motion. But like for some reason, 2D has like a stigma to it that 3D animation doesn't. So I just don't know why. Like, I guess 3D animation is just considered more cinematic. So I guess that's why people are like, if I'm going to spend money to watch this animation, it's got to be 3D. But like, I don't know. I think 2D animation is the best art form. Like, I still think. Here's the thing: almost every evolution in 3D animation has just been people trying to copy what you can already do in 2D animation. So to me, that just proves that 2D animation is better. Yeah, I still like 3D animation, but like, I don't know. I think 2D animation is special. Hopefully, these movies are successful and like the more 2D product at greenlit, because like, you know how it works. Like, you only need one big 2D thing to get greenlit, and for it to be successful, and eventually that's going to open the floodgates. Spider-Verse, that was successful, and now there are like 4 different movies that are out that look like Spider-Verse. Fuck, I forgot to put the Puss in Boots trailer in mention. Have you guys seen the Puss in Boots 2 trailer?
No.
I've seen the original trailer, but I haven't seen the new one.
Okay, so the new trailer straight up looks like Spider-Verse.
But Puss in Boots.
Yes. And I think it's hilarious that a Shrek spinoff now looks like Spider-Verse. Like, that's how influential Spider-Verse is. You got Puss
Into
in
the
Boots, you
Shrek
got
verse, let's go.
yeah, you got Puss in Boots, you got that the Bad Guys movie, Mitchell versus the Machines, which is the same studio, so that one makes no sense. But like, DreamWorks is just straight up. They just saw Spider-Verse and were like, this is gonna be what we're gonna do now. Fuck it, this is awesome. Because every
But
new DreamWorks movie just looks like Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse is great, no doubt, but I wish people would also give more credit to the Peanuts movie, to the
Yeah.
art style that movie had.
I'll definitely say like Peanuts movie is definitely still like influential. Captain Underpants was definitely influenced by that, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I'd say Mitchell's vs. the Machines had both a Peanuts and a Spider-Verse vibe. That was like a combination of both, which I thought was cool. Yeah,
Peanuts
Peanuts
movie
again is
exists,
another example.
people. Give
Yeah.
it the credit it deserves.
Yeah. But Peanuts movie, that's another example I was like trying to mention earlier. How like every 3D movie that's groundbreaking is just doing what 2D does. The Peanuts movie is so groundbreaking because it's just doing what people in the 50s were doing. I was like, yeah, like 3D animations is great, but there's something special about 2D. If all 3D is trying to do is imitate it. Like 3D is like all the revolutions in 3D is just stuff that's done in live action, stuff that's done in 2D. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like there's something. I hope the next like evolution of 3D animation is something that's exclusive to 3D. The early 3D movies were like that, like Toy Story and stuff. That's stuff you could only do in 3D. But like I haven't seen much evolution in 3D animation like since. I don't know. Anyway,
So
why don't you take over?
let's round things out with musical related news. Hell yeah. Okay, so let's start off with the big thing, Joker 2.
Yes, that's a musical now,
Yes.
apparently.
Hi,
Yes,
the Joker, baby.
2. Joker 2 is gonna be a musical.
Yes, and it's gonna star Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn.
I am down for that.
I was really hoping for Willem Dafoe as a Joker double.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe that'll be the third one. Because there is
or there could be a cameo.
No, because here's the thing. There's a comic storyline called The Three Jokers. So Joker 3, Three Jokers. Think about it. Yeah, but yeah, Lady Gaga. Who knows? Maybe this will be the movie she finally wins her Oscar for. That'd be funny.
And speaking of Oscars, or at the very least award shows, the Tony Awards happened. Back live in person on the stage at Radio City. First time in 3 years because COVID. Blech. But
yeah. I heard Sondheim won a ton, right?
The Revival of Company. That is tied with the play The Lehman Brothers for the most awards, being 5. And this makes me happy because not only because I saw Company and loved it, but also this means it was not a total sweep. That makes
so it's actually
it's
fair.
Great. It's great. There are shows that they absolutely deserve a lot of the awards, but I don't like it when it's a sweep, to be perfectly honest. It does not make a very interesting show.
Did you see any of the performances?
I did. I saw the entirety of the Tonys.
Yeah.
It was.
I was surprised when Smooth Criminal came on.
Oh my god, that guy who what's the name? What's his name? Miles Frost. Miles Frost as he won Best Leading Actor for MJ, and MJ also won a few others, including Best Choreography. Yeah. That guy freaking deserved it.
Best choreography,
my god,
of course.
My god, the way he moved and his voice, that guy is Michael Jackson.
He's the reincarnation.
That was just incredible to see. And most surprisingly, the big winner of the night, or at least the one who walked away with Best Musical, was A Strange Loop. But this is interesting for 2 reasons. One, with it winning, this means that Jennifer Hudson has now achieved EGOT status. She was a producer for A Strange Loop.
Huh. Congrats to Jennifer Hudson.
That's great. Yeah. But also, this is interesting because A Strange Loop only won one other award, being Best Book. And the Best Musical winner only winning one other award. The last time this happened was in the early 80s with 42nd Street. Because that won Best Musical and Best Choreography. So that's quite interesting. Have just 2 awards, but I mean, it did have the most nominations, so
it gave all the other musicals a chance too.
Yeah, again, Company and Lehman Brothers, they had the most awards with 5, but now MJ won 4, Strange Loop won 2, 6 won 2. The plays Take Me Out, Dana H, they both won 2, and Paradise Square, Girl from the North Country, Skin of Our Teeth, and Skeleton Crew all took away 1. So,
yeah, the Lehman trilogy I found interesting because do you know who directed that?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Sam Mendes.
Sam Mendes, yes.
Yeah, the guy who did Skyfall and American Beauty, and I was like, oh, I've seen a lot of this guy's movies. I was like, that's surprising. I didn't even know he'd made a musical. I mean, not a musical, a play. But yeah, interesting. That's kind of cool.
Rad. And of course, Ariana DeBose hosted. She was wonderful, as she usually is. Yeah, great telecast. Great performances. Congrats to all the winners.
Ariana DeBose, that sounds familiar.
She was Anita in
West Side Story. Yeah, I love that movie. Okay, great.
She hosted it. Oh, also, one other thing I want to mention about the Tony. This has nothing to do with the awards themselves. Actually, 2 things I want to mention. One, Lawrence Fishburne was in attendance. And at one point, Ariana DeBose randomly went up to him and said, "Hey, can you do that? Can you do that interesting thing you can do?" And he says, "Sure." And he did like a spot on Daffy Duck impression
What?
Oh,
for no reason.
Wait,
She was like, "Hey,
Lawrence
can you do
Fishburne can
Lawrence
do a Daffy
Fishburne?"
Duck impression.
Evidently, he can. I had no idea.
Daffy or Donald?
Daffy.
Daffy. Okay, great. It's the
Daffy
goat.
Duck. It was out of nowhere. She was just in the audience. She was like talking, and then she turned to Lawrence Fishburne. "Can you do your Daffy Duck impression?" And he just did it.
That's amazing.
I know. And another funny thing. This is actually related to the awards. I don't know if you guys have heard, but did you hear about the thing that happened with Patti LuPone a few weeks ago?
I didn't.
No.
What happened?
Okay, Patti LuPone is in company, and this was a few weeks ago. After one performance, there was a guest in the audience who wasn't wearing a mask and asked a question to Patti LuPone, and she yelled at him to put on his mask. And the guy in the audience had a rebuttal saying, like, "Hey, I pay your salary." And she says, "No, you don't, because the guy who pays my salary is sitting right there in the audience." Well, that was a big thing that happened because it's still heavily enforced on Broadway that audience members need to wear their mask. And Patti LuPone had to yell at this one guy. But the reason I bring this up is because for every speech that a winner for company did, they somehow brought up their salary in reference to that event. And that was just funny. Like, bar none, every speech, someone had to bring up their salary. That's it. I just wanted to bring that up because, yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Let's round out the news with one last little bit of musical stuff. And that is, we got a trailer for the Matilda movie musical. Now, Matilda, I have not seen the musical, but I do know it has become quite a popular choice in recent years for community productions.
I've not seen the musical, but I have listened to the soundtrack because the person who made the music is actually a comedian I'm a very big fan of, Tim Minchin. So I was like, oh shit, Tim Minchin did the music for this? So I checked it out, and yeah, it's very good. I also absolutely love the movie. It's directed by Danny DeVito, the GOAT. That's got like a bunch of really crazy camera angles and stuff. And what I liked about this trailer is that it seemed to like sort of keep the exaggerated sort of camera movements of the original movie. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
I don't know anything
Seems
about
to-
Matilda, but after you just said Danny DeVito directed the movie, I'm kind of interested now.
Yeah, I mean it's an adaptation of Roald Dahl. You know,
Yeah.
everyone loves Roald Dahl. He did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Fantastic Mr. Fox, James and the Giant Peach, The Witches.
The BFG.
Yeah, the big fucking gun. No, BFG. So yeah, like he also this one of my most insane fun facts about Roald Dahl is he wrote a couple screenplays, including the James Bond film You Only Live Twice, and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I knew Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah, but the fact he
Well,
did,
of
he
course
wrote
I
a,
would know that.
he wrote a James Bond movie. Yeah, and they're both Ian Fleming novels, and that's the part that threw me off. I had no idea Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was written by Ian Fleming, creator of James Bond.
Well, we'll get to all of that when we eventually get to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I actually recently watched You Only Live Twice. I was like, huh, Roald Dahl wrote that. I was like, man, this movie's kind of racist, Roald Dahl. What the fuck? Every James Bond movie, like of the original Sean Connery trilogy, not trilogy, 5 movies, pentalogy, they're all a little bit racist. Really goofy fun, but like, Jesus, like you watch, it's like, ugh, it's definitely made in the 60s. Yeah,
Well-
I'm really looking forward to it. What about you?
Well, for me, here's my experience with Matilda. I have never seen the musical before, but I remember I read the book in elementary school, and I did see the movie once after we read the book. I remember I was not really a fan of the movie.
The movie's got a very cult quality to it. I think you would like it more nowadays.
Maybe I would, but I
yeah,
just
as a-
remember as a kid,
I could definitely see
I
as
was
a
like
kid,
this.
it's like freaking people out and be like, oh, what is this?
No, as a kid, I was like, this is unpleasant.
Yeah, that's
Like
what I'm saying. Like,
it was very mean. It was a very dark gray movie.
yeah,
I just it didn't really appeal to me. But that was over 10 years ago, and
Yeah, things change. You never
who
know.
knows? Who knows? If I watched it
Here's the
now,
thing,
I
it is
might
a-
really like it.
it is a very mean movie, but I think it makes like all the genuine moments stand out more. Miss Honey, just yeah, lovely character, Miss Honey.
Who
Yeah, I
knows?
don't know. I feel like it's a movie that like I remember a critic like mentioning is like I didn't like Matilda the first time I saw it, but like when I rewatched it, I was like it just clicked. It's like I don't know. Matilda's definitely a movie like you gotta maybe watch more than once, but yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll give that an episode one day.
Yeah, maybe when the musical comes out, I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh okay.
Maybe.
So,
But I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. Like I'm open to it. I've heard great things about the musical, so who knows? And this is coming out in December on Netflix, and honestly, I'm really happy with how the last few years there's been like a movie musical released in December. That
yeah,
just
on
it just seems
Netflix.
perfect to me. It just seems perfect to me to round out the year with a big movie musical.
Yeah, I like Tick Tick Boom, so this should be fun.
I was actually thinking West Side Story
Oh yeah, West Side Story too.
because that was the big
And I saw that on
December.
Christmas. Like, duh, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
yeah, like the big Christmas music. Tick Tick Boom was I think like Thanksgiving. I don't know,
That
but
sounds
I
about right.
remember I watched Tick Tick Boom like in December, so like to me, I was just like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. All right, so we're gonna be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is a 1966 Italian epic spaghetti western film directed by Sergio Leone. It's starring Clint Eastwood as the man with no name. In this movie, though, he's referred to as the good or Blondie. Lee Van Cleef as the bad. He also showed up in some of Sergio Leone's westerns, and Eli Wallach as the ugly. Uh, so yeah, this is pretty cool. This is the third movie of the Dollars trilogy, or the Man with No Name trilogy, following A Fistful of Dollars, which is a remake of Yojimbo and For a Few Dollars More. I've seen all three of the movies, and I feel like each one got better, which is why I chose this one, because it's my favorite. It's actually my favorite one of them overall, but we'll get into that later. This film is definitely Sergio Leone's most iconic movie, and is arguably the most iconic Western ever made. Everyone knows the iconic theme song, and the iconic close-up long shots. The finale is very well known. Anyway, this takes place in 1862. I'm actually wait. Let me go into more trivia before I talk about the plot. My bad. But yeah, after the success of For a Few Dollars More, the executives at United Artists basically approached that film's screenwriter to make a contract, sign a contract for the next one. And yeah, so this was basically his highest budget yet, because his previous two movies were big successes. And so this kind of came out when westerns were sort of saturated. I remember Roger Ebert infamously gave this movie a 3 out of 4 star review, which is still good. But years later, he actually made another review because he regretted giving this movie a 3 out of 4 stars so much, saying that honestly, I was just burnt out from westerns, so I gave it a harsher review than it deserved. And he later, gave it a 4 out of 4 stars. Said it's a masterpiece, one of the greatest films ever made. It was like, yeah, so saturation can sometimes make you be harsher to a movie, I guess, than it deserves.
that's true.
Well, he changed his
Um,
mind.
yeah, he did. I mean, he still gave it a positive review, but he was just, a little bit harsher to it than deserved. I remember, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but all of Sergio Leone's movies had this, but he just lets the actors talk in their native languages and then later dubs it into English. So, you guys notice that?
I did notice the dubbing was a bit weird.
Yeah, the lip syncing was off, but I kind
Yeah.
of just chalked that up to it being a film in the 60s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same here.
it wasn't
But
that. It's actually this
I
is
didn't
just a
cut it much
thing that
slack.
Sergio Leone kind of does, because I think the way he says it is like he'd rather just have the actors talk in the language they're comfortable with. He just works with what he got, and then he'll just like in post try to fix it. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino stated that he thinks this is the greatest directed film of all time. And you can definitely see the influence in Tarantino's own movies, particularly like Kill Bill and The Hateful Eight and stuff. A lot of techniques there. But in Reservoir Dogs, ending of Reservoir Dogs, if you've seen that. It's originally going to get a sequel, but it ultimately didn't pan out. Just kind of interesting, and yeah,
But it doesn't
um,
need a sequel, if I'm being
yeah,
real.
Yeah,
yeah.
nah.
What's funny is Sergio Leone barely spoke any English, and Tuco, the ugly, barely spoke any Italian, so they communicated in French.
They knew French.
Yeah, Yeah, they're both in French. Yeah, here's the thing. This movie is just like a smorgasbord of different languages, like people of different languages sort of coming together to work on this. A lot of Sergio Leone's movies are, and that's sort of why the dubbing thing, they did the dubbing thing because everyone's just working whatever language they're most comfortable with. Clint Eastwood was like, I'm just going to speak English, Tuco also was like, I'm just going to speak English. Like that's just how it was,
I am amazed that the language barrier was not as complicated as it should have been for this movie to come out the way it did. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah. No one's sure if Clint Eastwood plays the same character in each of these movies, but he does wear the exact same clothes in each movie, the exact same poncho in all three of his movies with Sergio Leone. So that's why people kind of consider this an unofficial trilogy with him. But yeah.
Does he have the same signature squint across all three movies?
I mean, he has that in every movie he's been in.
All right.
Sunlight's bright out there, man.
That's just his face. That's just his face,
That's just what I assume. Like it is the West. It's very sunny. So
yeah, I assume they filmed this in an actual desert.
They did. Here's a question: is Rango part of this series? Because if you guys remember Rango, Clint Eastwood's character was in Rango. The Spirit of the West, remember?
It has been so long since I last saw Rango.
I do know Rango is connected to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe...
I think the director was just having fun.
Does this mean all Western movies exist in the same universe?
Yeah, maybe.
Cowboys and aliens, yet.
The Western Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I mean, Tombstone definitely takes place in the same universe as some Westerns, because that's just history, but yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see a movie where, all the great iconic Western characters just show up.
Back to the Future 3. Yeah, just replace Clint Eastwood in this movie with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Anyway, the rest of the stuff I have is just fun facts. So yeah, let's just talk about the movie. So this took place in 1862 during the American Civil War. You could even see some stuff there. There's some themes about the end of the West and stuff there. But yeah. This is a deconstruction Western, so sort of meant to commentate on the long history of Westerns. But yeah, we follow three characters, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is Clint Eastwood's character. He's referred to as Blondie throughout the movie by Tuco, who's the ugly. And then we got Lee Van Cleef, who's, I guess, the villain, the bad. Basically, Tuco and Blondie, they sort of work together, but Blondie kind of screws him over, or Tuco screws him over. There's a lot of betrayal and stuff going on, but yeah, basically they work together. They're being hunted down. Eventually they're trying to find some money in the desert. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff throughout the movie. Let's be real, the plot doesn't really matter. It's just mostly about the characters and the direction and all that. So yeah, why don't you guys just give me your thoughts?
Lugia, why don't you start? You had never.
We always have him start. Yeah.
And
I forgot you saw this.
I saw 30 minutes of it a long time ago.
Okay, so well that's not
I wasn't blind.
Much.
I wasn't blind to it. Is what I'm trying to say.
But you didn't get the whole picture. All right.
I mean, you said you've never seen this movie.
Yes, I have never seen this before. Until now.
I mean, 3% is still 8%, so...
Yeah. Okay, go on. Just say what your thoughts are.
All right. So, I don't think I'm the minority in this. This is one of the best movies we've seen on the podcast.
Yeah.
The directing, the drama, the tension, everything came together in such a unique way. I'm not too into Westerns. I've seen a couple, but they're not really my thing. This movie, though, this was some good shit.
Listen, this was the first Western I've seen, and that's why I've always said I'm a huge Western fan. Honestly, I'm not a huge Western fan, but when this is what you start off with, you're gonna be like, nah, there are great Westerns out there. Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, this was pretty darn good.
All right.
That's it.
Well,
okay, I guess let's talk about
get the general gist. Yeah, I really liked it.
All right, let's just start with the acting then. So, three main characters, but some side characters sprinkled in. Clint Eastwood, classic Clint Eastwood act. Can't really complain there. So, yeah, I don't know.
He played it straight for the most part in this movie, which is fine.
Yeah. He was a straight man.
Mhm.
Obviously, my favorite character was Tuco the Ugly. He was just a blast to watch.
Yeah, Tuco hammed his
I would
performance.
I would argue this movie is mainly about him because
He has the
he's
most
the one.
screen time.
He has the most
is the main
screen
character.
time. He has the most dialogue, and he also, I'd argue, he has the most development.
Hell, he's the
because
first
we
you
act-
see out of the
Yeah,
three.
because we actually learn more about where he came from and his family.
Yeah.
So I'd argue this movie is about him.
I
And he
agree.
gets a happy ending somewhat.
Yeah,
I'm not
relatively.
saying it's exclusively about him, but I think it's slightly more focused on him
Yeah.
Yeah.
than the other two.
I thought Lee Glenn Cleef was a pretty great villain. I like how he was like the most like if you just look at clothing wise, like he's a villain, but he's the one that's like the most like clean cut. He's the one that's like seems the most like I don't
Sophisticated.
know. Yeah, it reminds me of like I don't know, like you know Terminator 2, like how like he's like this very like clean cut, like sophisticated like police officer in Terminator 2. It reminded me of that. He was like this like I don't know. I thought it was like a good like contrast. The fact that he was the one that seemed the most put together, but he was also like the most sadistic one. That was like a neat little touch. What's funny is he was also in for a few dollars more. So you guys probably noticed this, but he played he was like a romantic character in that one, and so he was actually really excited for the Good, Bad, the Ugly because he got to pay basically the opposite character that he played in the previous movie in the trilogy. So I thought that was kind of cool. This guy's got range. Honestly, he wasn't even originally the one that was going to play him. They were going to get Charles Bronson, but yeah, he was in the Committed to the Dirty Dozen, so he couldn't. But yeah, acting was great. Obviously, cinematography.
There is a very good reason they teach this movie in film schools.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they use every shot, close up, wide, medium. It's all here, and it all looks fantastic.
What I just found fantastic about this movie is just like the silence.
Yeah, the first
this
11
is-
minutes has no dialogue.
This is visual storytelling at its finest.
Yeah. The fucking ending of the movie is just like so much like tension, silence. It's just a master. The ending is just a masterclass in filmmaking. That is like pure visual storytelling. All the close-ups, the wide shots, everything. It's just beautiful.
And of course, you can't forget the score.
Yeah.
Score.
I mean, the opening music is so iconic.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other tracks that play throughout the movie are really great too.
Yeah, I mentioned
I-
Tarantino before. Tarantino just straight up uses this score in some of his movies just because he loves it so much.
And then who's to blame him?
Yeah,
Because
that-
it's really
yeah,
good.
Morricone, just one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, that main theme is iconic, as well as the final standoff theme. And I also really like the song that plays when Tuco is frantically searching for the gravestone.
Yeah, that's another standout song for me.
Reminds me. So you know the main theme?
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Okay, so no, okay, but you know that Gorilla song, Clint Eastwood?
No.
I'm not too familiar with the Gorillas, actually.
Okay, well that song has like a little motif that kind of sounds similar to the bow wow. Yeah, so there's a thing in that sounds similar in that song, and that's why they call it a Clint Eastwood, because they're like, oh, it kind of sounds like the Good, Bad, and the Ugly theme. So they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's call it Clint Eastwood. It's like, a little fun fact. You know how people say every frame a painting?
Yeah.
The way this movie's framed, I legit like feel like you could screenshot this movie, any frame of it, and you could like hang it up in a museum and just tell people it's a painting, and they'd believe it.
Or just do every single frame and just make a museum on that.
And the film grain, like I really like. I love the way like the film grain, like I never really talked about film grains in movies before, but I don't know, something about the grain in this movie just looks so appealing to me, and I'm not sure like what about it.
I think it's the desert setting to highlight how hot the area is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like Blondie's face when they're walking like 100 miles through the desert and it gets more burnt up. My god. Like, I feel
Get this
bad
man
for
some
him.
water already, Tuco.
The action was like surprisingly like well done. Like you don't like think like when I watch old movies, I'm like, the action's kind of like,
I mean, the
shitty.
action was very brief in this movie.
Yeah, but it
but it was like
stuck with
effective.
you.
Like it was very like. That's the thing. Like the fact,
Especially with like the final duel,
like,
it's more about the build-up rather than the payoff.
Like listen, like I like James Bond movies. Those movies never really have like quite like the snappy pace this action has. Like this is very brief, but it's so like quick, it's still like it sticks with you, and that's why
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
like some of these scenes, like they legit made me wince. Like when Tuco almost gets his eyes gouged out,
Oh
or
yeah.
when he hits the guy's head on the rock,
yeah,
or when the train like rides over the dead body and
oh
drags
yeah,
it.
I love the train
Oh
stuff. Like that
jeez,
was impressive. The train,
Jesus.
yeah,
It's
probably
brief,
like
but like it's
It sticks
yeesh.
out.
Oh yeah.
yeah. One of my favorite scenes was the gun store scene.
Oh yes, I love that scene too.
Yeah, Dawn was funny.
But
That scene is entirely unscripted.
Really?
Tuco's character knew very little about guns, so he was instructed to do whatever he wanted. He was told how to disassemble and assemble them. So okay, yeah, basically the entire scene was just improvised, and I thought it was just really cool. Like I was like, oh, that was improvised. It was like neat. It was completely unscripted, and they just let the actor just have fun with it. And I was like, oh, that's neat. Also, obviously the final duel scene. I don't know if you noticed this, but you can briefly see a dog in that when Tuco is running frantically through the cemetery. You can briefly see a dog running on screen at the
yeah,
beginning of the
I
scene.
did
You notice that?
not notice that. No.
yeah, I noticed.
Okay.
Was
That
that
was
not
also
supposed to
improvised.
happen?
No, it was, but it was improvised. Basically,
Okay.
he thought the scene was going to slip into melodrama, so he released the dog without telling the actor, so the look of shock was genuine. So basically, the dog was just there to scare the shit out of Tuco. Yeah, so like, I thought that was kind of fun.
Actually, I do have one question.
Yeah.
This is a very brief moment, but that scene where Tuco is taking a bath and the guy comes in with the missing right arm and he attempts to shoot him. Was that a reference to a guy in the beginning? Or was that just some random dude?
It might have been. I didn't think about that. Maybe.
I want to
I mean,
say
he
it
just shows
was.
but he just shows up, he's like, I'm gonna kill you, but Tuco has the gun in the bath. He shoots him and he has the most over-the-top death in the entire movie.
I wonder. Do you think Pulp Fiction was referencing like in Pulp Fiction they were referencing that? You
Maybe.
remember that scene?
Maybe.
No,
It's
I don't know.
possible. I don't know. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that was
Actually,
weird. That happened. Okay.
I found it funny. Like a lot of Tuco's stuff was actually improvised, which I thought was kind of cool. Like they just let this guy have fun. The line when you have to shoot, shoot, don't talk, that was improvised. And apparently caused the entire crew to burst out laughing. Eli was the actor was a bit perplexed because he thought it was pretty sensible. He didn't mean it as a joke, but like his delivery and his face, it just was really funny. I don't know. The guy's just naturally funny.
It was in character. I'd say it worked out for the better.
I found it funny that the iconic theme music initially, there was actually like some discussion about that. It was meant to mimic the sound of a coyote. Originally, it wasn't gonna have the trumpet, but the director insisted.
One other thing, this is nothing to do with anything, but I find it weird how, despite the movie's title, they revealed the characters as the ugly, the bad, and the good.
They just want to get all the bases covered.
No, but I mean, it's that doesn't have the same ring to it. The ugly, the bad, and the good.
Oh, this was really
It's not a big deal. It's just I noticed it's like, oh, it's not revealed in the order of the title. Whatever.
It's reverse.
yeah. Back about the train scene. So I thought the hand cutting off, the handcuffs getting cut off, that was really cool, right?
Yeah, but
That.
I was like worried. Like, is the train gonna tear his body in half? Is it gonna drag him? Like, what's gonna happen to the body?
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing. The danger was real because he actually performed the stunt. The
Really?
director assured him that it was gonna be loud and scary, but he was gonna be totally safe. Thing is, the step rail that missed his
Mhm.
head by a few inches. Yeah, it would have hit his head. Like he just got lucky, so he actually almost did get
Jesus.
hurt.
God.
Ugh. Like he wouldn't have died, but it would have just hurt him. It was like, yeah, damn it.
I mean, westerns are dangerous. I
Oh
know that.
shit! Also, the first scene, he almost died. Also in the first scene with when Clint Eastwood shoots him down from
The news.
the whatchamacallit, yeah, the news. The gunshot scared the horse, so it took off running, and he. So basically, Wallach's hands were tied behind him, and he was just hanging on to his dear life onto the horse for like a while. The knees, like, so they had to like chase down the horse, and be like, "Oh shit!" So
That's
yeah,
a similar story in Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh yeah.
Because Michael J. Fox almost got hanged. Like, for real.
yeah. So like,
Yeesh.
ugh, these westerns are dangerous.
Yeah. Like I know Johnny Depp almost died on the set of The Lone Ranger.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember what scene it was. I've not seen the movie, but I do know that story.
Yeah, listen, I promise if I ever film a Western, I'm not gonna kill you guys. I'll be extra safe. Pinky promise. So you already pointed out that there was no dialogue for the start of the movie.
Yeah.
First 10.5 minutes.
Yes. That's just impressive, like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it honestly
Um,
led me to believe that there would be no dialogue for the entire movie.
Well, for the most part, there isn't.
Yeah. Honestly, just gonna say, like, most of the dialogue just came from Tuco. Like, I can't even remember like most of the lines from like the other characters. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking Tuco,
Yeah.
1 or 2 lines from Lee Van Cleef. He did have like the most screen time after all. Clint Eastwood was just like the top build because he was the biggest star, obviously. So I think that's probably why the Good's like the first in the title, not just because it like sounds good, but that's because like I think it's an order of billing because like the first 2 actors were just more famous, so they just got paid more.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood is the most recognizable actor here, but I'll admit his character is the one that stands out the least to me.
Yeah, this is the end of the
He's not
trilogy.
bad by any means. He just
Yeah, his
you
character has
know
more to do in the other 2 movies. Like in the trilogy, it was like, he doesn't have to have much emphasis. Have you ever seen the Mariachi trilogy?
no.
They did something similar there with El Mariachi, and Desperado. Those first 2 movies, the main focus is on the mariachi character. But the third movie, he was like a side character in his own movie. So yeah, a lot of like Western trilogies kind of do this, I guess.
Do we have anything else we want to add?
Just
I've pretty much said everything I want to say.
just the fact that this movie excels with suspense, even after Blondie and Tuco like have a partnership. You know for a fact that it's not gonna last forever, and you're just waiting for the moment where one betrays the other.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that build up, like throughout the whole movie with that partnership, that build up to the finale was excellent.
Yeah. The finale is like generally one of my favorite like endings in any movie ever. It's like, in my opinion, one of the greatest endings of all time. This movie is the highest rated movie on IMDb to not receive a single Oscar nomination. This movie was like criminally underrated in its time. Like, for some reason, people just didn't give it the credit it deserved when it first came out.
Well, then again, that might be because of the oversaturation of westerns.
Yeah. Sergio Leone was a bit of a perfectionist, though. Like, despite like the amount of improvising they let happen, he was definitely a perfectionist. Apparently, that's the main reason Clint Eastwood never worked with him again, because he was just tired of the perfectionism. He was just like, this is too much. I know Clint Eastwood, when he directs his own movies, he's like 1 or 2 takes type of dude. So I don't know. I guess he just really did not like Leone's directing style. He was actually the main characters of this movie, the 3, they were gonna be in the opening scene of Once Upon a Time in the West. But I don't know. I guess they couldn't. Things didn't pan out. I'm still not sure if this is better than Once Upon a Time in the West. I'm gonna say I like this one more, but Once Upon a Time in the West is definitely up there. So if you like this movie, definitely check out that one.
Anything else?
Final thoughts. I give this a 10 out of 10.
I said 9.5 out of 10. I thought the part where they enlist in the Union Army was pretty slow. I mean, I get the point to establish its place in history, but I felt like it could have been a little better. 9.5 out of 10, though. Highly recommend. Like, God, this movie was so fucking good.
Yeah,
this is like
pretty great. Like,
easily.
I didn't mind the slow pace. Again, the score was great. The cinematography was excellent.
Also,
like I said,
it's a 3-hour film, so that might not jive with everybody.
But weirdly, I think because a lot of that is in silence, I think that's why I was okay with it. I don't know, it just allowed me to take in everything.
It definitely feels like worth the time, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
It earned its length. It's not like one of these movies that's just long for the sake of it. Yeah, but highly recommend it. If you like this movie, check out Once Upon a Time in the West. Honestly, I'd recommend Once Upon a Time in the West over the other movies in the trilogy because that one feels a lot more in line with this. So if you like this, check out Once Upon a Time in the West. Whose recommendation is it?
It is my turn.
What do you got?
All right.
So, off screen, last week and this week, we mentioned a certain actor, which I don't think we've talked about one of his movies yet. I'm, of course, talking about Tom Cruise.
Yes, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we haven't done anything with him yet, have we?
We have not.
No.
All right, so I figured we may as well do one with him. So next week, we are going to be doing A Few Good Men. Is what I would be saying if I was predictable. We're watching The Firm next week, boy.
Firm. Okay. I have never seen that movie.
I have never heard of this movie.
I caught
I have heard
it
of
once with my grandmother.
Yeah, it's directed by Sidney Pollack. Shit, we talked about
Firm.
Sidney Pollack not that long ago.
Really?
Yeah. I briefly mentioned him in like one of the previous episodes, so that's kind of funny. Okay, we're gonna talk about The Firm. Interesting.
You all ready for business?
It's business time. This has been Always Sunny in the West. Yeehaw.